Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the channel. What's going on? DC here. And today we're going to talk about a couple things on 14. Mainly the trust system. It's going to be the good, the bad, the ugly. I guess that's the best way that we could put it. And we're just going to pop right in. As you can see, I got Thancred, Oriange, and Reen up to 80. I'm working on the last 3. And I figured I'm going to do a quick run here and talk to you guys about, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, not gonna lie, everybody's favorite is, well, quick queue times, especially for DPS. Yes, I'm doing it as a gunbreaker because this is my next thing that I'm going to get up. I'm gonna try and get all the classes up to 80, as you can see here. I've been working at it. Not as hard as I was the first week. And that's because of other things that's been going on and trying to sit there and dedicate time with kids, dedicate time with friends, dedicate time with, well, what I can do. And first off, as we can see in the trust system, everything's that's really great. You have some weird things that the AI is not always on point. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's intended. If it's because of how long I've stayed out here and not following mechanics for a little bit, or if they just wanted to do what they wanted to do. The second thing that I've noticed is if you want to actually go out and max out easily without the limited amount of time, and I didn't have Royal Guard, so that's a fail part on myself. But if you wanted to at least go through and just make sure that, well, you're going to sit there and do this the least amount of runs possible to level up the trust system, I encourage you to level up 1 DPS and 1 tank. And I'm going to explain it why. Thancred is the only tank out of the whole group, which Thancred's always been a jack of trades. So I think it's kind of ironic I'm doing Gunbreaker as he was a Gunbreaker. My main Paladin was already done. Dark Knight I already did. I leveled up with a friend. And so Gunbreaker was the next best thing. I don't have Warrior up there yet. That's going to be one of the next, that's going to be the next tank, obviously, because, well, I don't have any other tanks to do, but I definitely just, yeah. So I'm not really focusing so much on the rotation, as you guys could see. And I'm just going to point it out right now. The bad. Right down here, you could see their DPS. It is atrocious. I can let it reset, and we can go on a brand new poll, and you can see exactly what it is on a brand new poll, because I might have pulled it a little bit too fast for ACT to register, even though I don't really think it did. Do I have ideas on how to fix the DPS issue with the trust system? Of course I do. Would they be implemented? Probably not. Because, one, other players would probably think, that's too much work. DC, I think you're going a little too far and beyond. But if you guys thought about it, on where I'm going to go with this, then maybe you would understand. So, first off, let's just finish this poll real quick. And we'll just get a fresh reset while I sit there and go through what I was going to tell you about for the next thing. So, this should reset. Yes, I only got 1. It's not that bad. This will go away. I'll let it go away. It's like, it's there somewhere. It's not going to be like optimized polls, obviously, this, that, and the other. But, as you guys can see, I'm climbing to 7,700. They're still only at 2 to 3K. Which, this is my concern. I understand fast queue times, this, that, and the other. However, it would be more rewarding if it had at least half the DPS that you could pull. Granted, yes, the gear that I'm in is suited for my level, which I'm level 77. Which means I should be doing roughly about maybe 1,000 DPS less, give or take. So my solution, right, is the retainers, you can already gear them. So why can't we gear the actual NPCs through the trust system? And you're probably thinking, DC, that's a little absurd. Why would you ever think of that? Well, let's be honest. Half the time you're bringing in 1 healer, 2 DPS, or 1 tank and 1 DPS. That would be the only way that you can get in this system. Running these non-stop as you're leveling your classes, you should easily get gear. And then not only that, let's be honest. You're running as a tank and you're getting DPS gear. Why would you need DPS gear as a tank? Unless you're going to save it for later on. But that's my point. Or surrender another piece of loot, because usually the loot comes up and it could go toward where they could roll on it, which would be an ideal thought process on it. And I think that would increase their DPS, because, like, let's be honest, they're not changing anything. They're not getting anything. They're not. It's just, I feel like I'm playing with a bunch of level 70s through the trust system nonstop. And yes, I get it. It's supposed to be rewarding. That way you can just sit there and learn mechanics. But it's kind of hard to sit there and say that you're actually learning mechanics sometimes when the NPCs stand in it themselves. And it's quite plain as day. I'm gonna see if they're gonna actually, like, go through and give me a couple examples, which would be great. I mean, Alice right there, rushing in. Yes, normal red mage kind of thing of, I'm just gonna sit there and soak this hit. Healer's gonna heal me. I got it. I understand it. Yes, my DPS was low on that pull because, again, I'm not focusing on the DPS for the whole shebang. I'm trying to at least, like, go through and show you guys what my stance on this is. And then not only that, I'm leveling Gunbreaker to get it to 80. That way I can learn the proper rotation at that point. So here's my biggest concern with the trust system. When we get them all to 80, what do we as the player get? Other than the glamour. Because let's be honest, glamour's not everything. Are we going to have... I take it we're going to have new dungeons that we're going to be able to... that we're going to have pretty soon. We're due for it, honestly. So, yeah, they could go in with it. But is their DPS still going to be Terabad? That's one of my biggest issues. And I want to make sure I orange juice up to get my XP duration going. But that's one of my biggest things. And yeah, I get it. Like, glamour. A lot of us, we do glamour all this stuff. Like, the gear that I got on right now is not the optimized glamour for... or it's not what the actual gear looks like. So, I don't know. I have some concerns. I'm hoping they revitalize the trust system a little bit. The other thing that I was going to make as a suggestion, right? And it sounds stupid, but, like, kind of give the trust system more of, like, I don't know, an amiibo setting. If you are a scholar, so to say, right? Why not have it to where you go in an instance thing, where you go in as a scholar with Alphanod, and you teach them your style of healing? I mean, that would make sense, right? The more that you're with the character, the more that you would actually learn stuff. Like, look at Alphanod right now, just taking that hit. That's one of the things that I'm, like, about, because I get it. People make mistakes. This was supposed to be a system to teach you the fight, but I see Alphanod and Alize making a lot of crucial mistakes. As for Orange, I would have to say he's the better healer out of the two. With Alize, I think because they mainly put the whole limit break thing, once it's full, she hits it kind of thing. I think it forces the NPC to not care about mechanics for a little bit and try to hit the limit break. Now, granted, I'm not picking up treasure coffers because I've done this so many times. I basically have most of the loot possible. Should I be picking it up? I probably should. But I kind of have inventory space right now. That's an issue. And I'm going to have to, like, redo that. Square Enix, we as the players, we love the fact that, you know, you guys think of us most of the time. But our armory definitely is not feeling it. There's so many different combinations of gear to make it ideal, like going into Crown EX. Some of those accessories are the best things to be wearing for a certain class while you have the Eden gear, and it just goes on, right? At least give us, like, I would say a reasonable number is 50 armory space for all the classes, all of them put together. As for inventory space, I'm not really going to complain much about that. That's just me needing to micromanage. I need to go utilize my retainers for that. But as for the armory, like active armors that we do use and active gear that we do use, I think it should go up from the 35 to the 50. Hands down. So, second thing that I'm noticing on trust system is, yes, even when we are this level in that gear, the statement I'm about to say, you guys are going to be like, that's not possible. Well, it kind of was. Big pulls have and always will be a thing. And this is where I was thinking, like, the whole amiibo feel of teaching your trust buddies how to play their class a little bit better, because maybe that could be the reward for the whole DPS thing, because they're not properly doing the rotation. You know what I mean? That's the little things I'm saying that could improve the trust system. I like it. It was a great feel. Well, I shouldn't say was. It is a good feel for everything that's going on. You can level up the classes that you don't feel comfortable getting into a party with, and then people that do have ACT up and running, they're not gonna be like, your DPS, blah blah blah. No, because you're learning the class. That's one of the main feels that I think that they're trying to get with, is try to get it to where you could learn the class. However, I would greatly more appreciate the fact that if we were learning a class, that they at least hold their weight a little bit more. AoE pulls, because that was an AoE pull, they should have been up a little bit more. That's just my honest opinion. I really think the DPS is half of what an average player could pull. And I say average because not everybody can pull it. Perfect example. Black Mage. Okay? You have Y'shtola pulling 3k up to 4k DPS. Yoshida, you play a Black Mage. Okay? If you're telling me that Y'shtola is completely fine as a Black Mage, then I hate saying it, then maybe you don't know how to play your class. However, I'm not going that far when I say that. It's just a simple fact of the matter that I know how much he loves Black Mage. You would think that he would look into this a little bit more and be like, alright, you know, maybe the DPS for these NPCs are a little bit lacking. Maybe there's something that we could do. So, I would really hope that, you know, throughout time, I'm not saying it's got to be like right now, because what's the point of it? Half the people are already gone through the pain and agonization of it. Keep it that way. Future expansions, I hope that, you know, if you keep the trust system, because I like it. I absolutely adore the trust system altogether. And to be honest, the whole ordeal is learn the class, learn the dungeon, which is great. But what's going to happen when the new dungeons come out and you're going to allow the trust system to be an impact to that, right? At that point, if they're still doing that minuscule DPS, I'm going to have to say the trust system at that point is going to be a failed flaw. Because why would you sit there and have them doing minuscule DPS at level 80 on gear that we know a person's gonna definitely have at that point? Like, my paladin right now, I think, is in almost all 460 gear. Yes, I haven't done Savage. I don't have a crew to join in, and pugs are really taxing. I'm just gonna put it that way. Now, if somebody actually does want a person that understands the game, the mechanics, and everything, let me know. Tell me the server that you're on. I'm willing to even possibly, like, join the bandwagon and be able to be up to date on content. Because right where I'm at, I'm playing the game to enjoy the game, but I'm also missing out on being able to go into current content. I don't have the group. I've been looking, and honestly, I think it's mainly the server I'm on, but there's nobody that's doing content at all on the server, and that just, it's draining. It really is. I would really much enjoy the fact to be able to go into Savage and the EXs when they come out. But as we can see, like, we're at 73 minutes. I've noticed that it takes roughly about 73 minutes to go. It usually takes about 30 minutes to clear a dungeon. I think that's where they put the DPS onto the timeline of the dungeon, and I don't know. You would think as you're leveling them that their DPS would improve, but they don't. Their DPS has been the same in each one. And I think the biggest one that really kind of hurts the most is Y'shtola not doing anything for the strongest DPS class, or one of the strongest, because it might have changed. Somebody might have changed it and found something else, and there might be a higher DPS class right now. But as one of the top DPS, she's definitely pulling the lowest numbers out of the whole group. And quite honestly, that's pretty sad, especially coming from one of the NPCs that was honestly the best white mage, I would say. And I don't know. I'm just hoping that there's gonna be like some good improvements on the trust system. It'd be nice to see it. I like the fact that you can level up NPCs. It gives you something else to do on the side instead of the whole, I'm gonna get into a group, they're not gonna know what they're gonna do. And that's not where I'm getting at completely about, you know, hey, all players are whatever. We all been at that learning phase at one point in our life. That's why I take the time as a mentor to teach them what I can and try to get them to where they're actually performing a little bit better. I've actually been giving out a lot of people information about the class discords, because every class actually has a Discord, and I'm practically in all of them. I gotta say, they are the most humble group of people ever that actually will sit down with you and help you out with your rotation, or just help you out in general on melding your materia. And it would be something that I would definitely look at. But as for the trust system, I really hope that there are going to be improvements and everything. That's going to come down to it later on in the future. We'll see. As, but I really, 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 truly hope, you know, that that's going to be one of the biggest things that we could see in an update soon. I mean, granted, we already have the issue right now with Ninja having a hard time. We have, I mean, having a hard time. Dancer, I haven't yet to play the class. I do have some comments about that class, but I'm gonna save that for a later video when I go over the classes that I have gone over and what I've seen so far. But as for the trust system, I mean, this is a good way to sit there and get this, but like, you know, they don't want to sit there and do their side portrait. If you're gonna level up the trust system, do 1 tank and 1 DPS, because you have 2 healers on both sides. If you want to level up a healer with it, that's fine. Go for it. I'm just saying to optimize it to where you don't have to sit there and put yourself through so much. 1 tank, 1 DPS is the best way to go to get all 6 of them done and out of the way. I don't know. I'm just, me personally, I really hope that we'll see something more from the trust system later on. I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be where I'm going to leave off the note, because I pretty much feel like I've hit every key point that I've noticed so far. There's probably going to be more. I'll come back to it later after I get everybody to 80. Maybe there is something. Maybe they did give us something for leveling all of them up to 80. Find out. I'm just hoping that there's at least a reward for it. Otherwise, people that just do it just to say that they did it, I don't know. But that's the way I look at it. As always, guys, thank you for coming to the Dark Realm. I will catch you all later. I'm gonna get a couple more recordings in on a little bit of key points to this. We'll see how it goes. But this is Dark Commander signing out.